Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad, and welcome to Monday's edition of the DCEU Daily. Now, earlier on, I tried to go live with today's DCEU Daily Live. The internet here is absolutely terrible right now. It lagged, it didn't work out, which is rather unfortunate. So I decided to do a pre-recorded video instead. So I want to say a few things. So I tried to say this stuff on my live, but it didn't work out. Anyway, let's talk about it here. Yesterday, there was a Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness trailer, a beautiful trailer. The film looks amazing. I like the MCU. I celebrate the MCU. What I don't celebrate is idiots having hot takes saying that Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is going to, destroy the hype for the DCEU this year, or the Flash movie. It doesn't make sense. These propaganda merchants will keep on coming in with these hot takes. Why are they comparing a Doctor Strange sequel with the first Flash movie? Why are they doing that? It doesn't make any sense to me. It makes no sense whatsoever. Why are you comparing those films? Why are you comparing, for example, Doctor Fate and Doctor Strange? Similar characters, right? Because you know Doctor Strange looks amazing in the... Let me say that again. You know full well that Doctor Fate looks amazing in the footage and the images we've seen from WB thus far. And you can't handle that. So you can't go against the design for Doctor Fate. You can't do that. You can't have a go at the Hawkman design and the costume. He looks awesome. You can't go against Black Adam. The Flash's costume looks amazing. You haven't got any more room to maneuver anymore. So you're trying to say that Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is going to destroy the hype for the DCEU this year, and especially the Flash movie. Now, for a long time, the propaganda merchants have been saying, oh, Michael Keaton is too old to be the main Batman. A very interesting thing happened yesterday in the Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness trailer to expose this kind of hot take, because Sir Patrick Stewart, who of course is the original live-action Professor X, his voice appeared in the Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness trailer. I can tell you, as you already probably know, I think Patrick Stewart is at least 10 or 15 years older than Michael Keaton. This shoots dead any propaganda about Michael Keaton being too old. It's as simple as that. You can't win at the end of the day. You can't win. As I say, you don't have any more room to maneuver. What I don't understand is you want to restore the Snyderverse. I want to restore the Snyderverse too, right? So what is hating the future of the DCEU going to accomplish? Do you think your power is so huge that every time you post a hot take on Twitter, it's going to change the direction of WB? Or are you stupid enough to believe that David Zaslav of Discovery is watching and he's going to listen to you and he's going to think you're all of the fans? You're not. You're fans who want one director and one vision. There's many DC fans who haven't even been thought about, in DC live action ever, right? It's time for the comic book fans and the mainstream audience to be listened to. The mainstream audience, because they're where the money is, right? And the comic book fans are fans of the original material, the material that made DC so famous and such, giving it financial potential in live action. Matt Reeves is listening to those people, and he's given us a take of Batman that's very faithful to several, graphic novel iterations of Batman from the comics. And that's right. That's what we want to see. Right, and this is the direction we're going. As you've seen from the images from WB and DC for Hawkman, Dr. Fate, Black Adam, The Flash, Aquaman in Aquaman and Lost Kingdom, these images could have been taken from graphic novels themselves. So they have worked very hard. Now, Ann Sarnoff came out in, let's call it a hit piece with Variety, saying she wasn't going to release the haircut and there would be no more Snyderverse. Now, this is not what Anne wanted to do. Anne was put in that position because Zack Snyder and Ray Fisher kept on attacking the studio and kept on attacking, not Zack, but Ray Fisher kept on attacking Walter Hamada. There was no justification to be attacking Walter Hamada. If you're upset with the studio for not doing their due diligence and to run a professional investigation into the Justice League reshoots, that's something else. You know, Ray Fisher went to Walter Hamada. Walter Hamada was told to respond in a certain way, and he did. His bosses are the studio, but Ray Fisher made it personal about Walter Hamada. And ultimately, WB didn't like one of their employees being attacked by Fisher like that. Ultimately, Fisher was going to be in the Flash movie. He refused to be involved in anything that Walter Hamada was going to produce or be involved in. His loss, that's up to him. He's now working with Zack Snyder in Rebel Moon, and that's good for him. But at the end of the day, these constant hot takes, these constant propaganda do nothing but cause trouble on social media, because most of the takes that these people are coming up with have no credence, have no legitimacy. Instead of fighting for the Snyderverse like we all want to do, we're just hearing hatred. But you know what's really funny is that the Restore the Snyderverse community is not funny, actually, it's tragic. But the Restore the Snyderverse community is split in two. So we've got a group of people called the Cult who want to create trouble, cause arguments, put out hot takes, say things that are not true. One of the takes is about Sam Raimi being embraced by Feige in the MCU and Andrew Garfield and the X-Men and all of that, but Zack Snyder's Justice League universe not being embraced by WB. Well, there's a difference. Sam Raimi made Sony a lot of money. Why wouldn't his vision be embraced? The first Andrew Garfield movie made a lot of money for Sony. The second one, not so much. But Andrew Garfield has been a gentleman, right? Let's be honest here. Sony didn't treat Andrew Garfield very well because actors and directors don't always get treated very well by studios. It's not, Zack Snyder isn't the first person to be kicked to the curb, right, in this industry. It happens all the time. That's part of the business. But these are professional people who understand if you mess with your feeders, your kingmakers, the studios and your audience, you're not going to have a future, right? So Zack Snyder's very fortunate to be over on Netflix. He's creating Rebel Moon. This was an original take for a Star Wars series that George Lucas again, didn't want. A bit too dark for him, understandable, fair enough, but it's going to be great, and I'm looking forward to Rebel Moon. You're getting so much by the person you stand. What is your problem? Most probably, David Zaslav of Discovery and Zack Snyder have already had discussions about restoring the Snyderverse. I'm very confident that's going to happen. But even then, if and when the Snyderverse gets restored, and I'm confident it will, you're still going to get these propaganda merchants saying, oh, look at Zack's universe, so much better than the multiverse strategy. They're still going to come out with hate and divisive shit. And the problem is with that, it just causes problems within the fandom. You are not the only people that need to be serviced here. There's people who like DC animation. There's people who just want to see bright, fun, 2-hour movies. And that's okay. There's people like me who want all of it. Want Snyder's universe, want what Ann Sarnoff and Walter Hamada and Jim Lee are doing. I want it all. But these all or nothing people are no good. They're no good for fandoms and they cause problems. And that is the huge issue here. We get a trailer for a Marvel movie released and all hell breaks loose. One happened on my very feed. I didn't have anything to do with it. I think I just retweeted the trailer. I think the Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness trailer is awesome. But there's too many people with hot takes. And it's not, this is not just, in the DC fandom. I'm a Manchester United fan. It happens all the time in Manchester United. Oh, it's the Glazers, or it's the players, or it's this one, or that one. No one really wants to speak the truth because hot takes get you more notice on social media. Most successful people on social media started from false narratives, and there's a lot of false narratives in DC fandom. So what I would say is, that it's not all of the Snyder fans. Most of the Snyderverse fans, the Restore the Snyderverse community, are good, pure people. Unfortunately, there's a bunch of, I would say, idiots out there who don't get it. Coming up with false narratives and hot takes isn't going to change anything. You're not going to change anyone's mind. And if you think David Zaslav is impressed when you slaughter people like Michael Keaton, a legend, an icon like Michael Keaton in his version of Batman, you are very wrong. If you think that Zack Snyder is applauding you, you are very wrong. In fact, you are embarrassing Zack Snyder, because in a lot of ways you're representing Zack Snyder because you're using his name. Your accounts got Zack's name on them. You've got a responsibility to represent him in a pure positive way. But some of you are not doing that. So you're embarrassing Zack. And this is a huge year for DC. And I know some of you Snyder fans are very triggered by that, because I think you know that this year is going to be a huge year for DC live action via Matt Reeves' The Batman and the 3 other DCEU movies. And there's nothing much you can do about that. So it's very, very sad to see that some people are doing this. But what I would say to the people like myself, who are embracing the future of the DCEU, who I don't even believe they're deleting the Snyderverse anyway. I think they're still going to restore the Snyderverse. I think Warner Discovery will restore it because they'll be in charge. Maybe they'll remove Ann Sarnoff. Maybe they'll remove Walter Hamada. But even if they don't, it's irrelevant because David Zaslav will be in charge and he'll be able to see that Zaslav's here to make HBO Max the biggest streaming service in the world, to make Warner Brothers the biggest studio in the world. Just by this merger, Warner Brothers Discovery will be bigger than Disney or Sony or anyone now. So if you're a fan of WB and DC, it's a very exciting time. We started off with Peacemaker, a very exciting project. What's to be angry about? I'm telling you the Snyderverse is getting restored. What is your problem? Coming up with hot takes. And what you're doing is you're hurting other DC fans. So when other DC fans say to you, you're not real DC fans, I don't actually think you're not real DC fans, but I do feel that that's a fair and proper and right accusation when you're slaughtering Michael Keaton, Mr. Batman motion picture #1. How can you claim to be a DC fan if you're hating, the original motion picture Batman? Think about that for a minute. And you're being utterly ageist as well. You're attacking Michael Keaton because he's 70 years old. Clint Eastwood was still running around at 70 years old. Jesus Christ, see some of his films when he was 70, right? Age has nothing to do with it. Listen, Ben Affleck clearly doesn't want to be Batman anymore, or doesn't want to do much within the DCEU as Batman. He wants to work on streaming. He wants to do his own thing. Now maybe, and this is a good point, Ben can be persuaded. Ben can be persuaded to make the Batfleck movie. There's nothing more that I would love to see that Batfleck movie. Even Matt Reeves has said it sounds amazing. But again, some of you, after we saw what Matt was saying about Ben's Batman movie, you said he was giving the movie and the script shade. That's not what Matt was doing. He said it looks awesome, it looks like a Bond movie, but he didn't want to make it because it wasn't his movie. What don't you understand? You twist everything, and this is why a lot of people online hate you. I am saying this for your own good. I am trying to advise you. You're fighting to restore the Snyderverse, but now you are hurting Zack Snyder. You are hurting his reputation. You are making him look like a toxic individual. And Zack Snyder is a lovely, pure man, a very talented man. You are representing him in the wrong way. I can tell you right here and right now that Zack Snyder has spoken to David Zaslav. He has spoken to Warner Brothers Discovery. Warner Brothers Discovery, the new organisation, wants to restore the Snyderverse. And more than likely, the Snyderverse will be in its own pocket universe. So Zack Snyder's Justice League arc will be completed. It It won't be today, it won't be tomorrow. Zach's very busy, but it's going to happen. And maybe Ben can be persuaded to complete his chapter as well. And hopefully Warner Brothers Discovery, I believe they will be persuaded to release the outcome, which is a right and moral decision to make as well. Or I'm not saying I don't agree with your fight. It's the way you fight I don't like. Me, as a DC fan who embraces everything, who's a Smallville fan, who liked the first 2 years of Arrow and The Flash, you know, you offend me when you say you're nonsense, because you're taking excitement away in a very big year. And I know that's your aim, and I know you think that's effective, because I've spoken to a couple of you privately before, but it's not. So at the end of the day, this is not the way to restore the Snyderverse, but I do believe the Snyderverse will be restored by Zaslav, because Zaslav is a pragmatist. He's very pragmatic. He wants to make as much money as possible, and the Snyderverse can do that. But the Snyderverse instead of the multiverse strategy, forget it. Never going to happen. It's not going to happen that way. Zack will never control the whole thing. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, because part of me, if that happened, would just say, all right, let's see. Zack makes great DC content. Maybe that's the thing. But I can't see that happening, and I don't think it will. Zack Snyder and Walter Hamada, Jim Lee and Ann Sarnoff are now going to have to work together for the time being. Or maybe Zaslav will sack those people at WB Pictures. It's irrelevant, right? Because whatever happens, Zack will have to work within the confines of a studio. Now, I think with Zaslav, he will have a lot more freedom, and that's great. So anything can happen here. Of course it can. Of course Zaslav can sack the whole of WB Pictures. Of course, there's a very small chance of it, but of course there's a chance that Zaslav may say, all right, Zack, be in control of the whole thing. The problem is I don't believe there's the money that they want to make from that decision. And so I think Zaslav, quite rightly, is going to wait to see what happens this year with DC movies. But I think publicly he's already said he's willing to work with, Ann Sarnoff and the rest of them. I think Toby Emmerich's gone. I think he is a problem, and I think he will be gone. And I think this is why there were rumours last year that he went to Netflix cap in hand. It's not going to happen. He won't get a job there, but he will get a job somewhere. And that, again, that's not our concern. Our concern is to see great DC content and a great franchise forged. So what is my dream? My dream is for Zack Snyder's Justice League universe to be restored, for Zack to complete his arc, and for Ben to make his movie if he can be persuaded to. If it's too much for his mental health and his mental struggle and his alcoholism, that an alcoholic will tell you this. You're always an alcoholic even when you stop drinking. So that's an ongoing battle. If it's too much for him, then I wouldn't push him to do it, and neither should you. But what I'm saying is that because we're getting a positive entity like Zaslav and a better company like Warner Discovery working in things, I think we can have everything. We can have a central universe like Walter Hamada is planning, but we can also have Zack's universe in a pocket universe somewhere. We can have it all. But all these hot takes, all this negativity is very sad, and it makes me very sad. But it doesn't make me sad for the future. I'm still looking forward to seeing Peacemaker. I'm still looking forward to seeing the Batman yet again. I'm still looking forward to seeing the Flash movie and Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. So these things are very exciting to me. But what saddens me is the hatred, because there's nothing to be hateful for. You've already had 3 Zack Snyder movies. Celebrate that and see what happens. And before I sign off today, I do want to bring something up, because I was on a live video and I had someone saying, I have not seen the Batman because I don't reveal anything about the movie. No. Now, I am telling the truth. Now, you don't have to believe me that I've seen the Batman, and that's up to you, but no one is going to tell you anything about the movie. Now, I've dropped some hints, but at the end of the day, this is how test screenings and early screenings go. If I go around shouting my mouth off about what I've seen in a screening, at the end of the day, I'm not going to get any more screenings, and that's worth more to me than dishing the dirt to you. Why do you want the dirt? Why don't you want to wait until you've actually seen the movie? Why do you want me to spoil the movie for you? You come on a live, you're going to ask me something. There's other people on that live who don't want to know what happens in that movie, right? That's the point. So nobody has to believe anything I say when I come onto these videos, but the point is, all you have to do is go back to my videos from July 2018 when I started my videos. I've made a lot of predictions that have come true. I've spoken about a lot of things that my sources have fed to me that have come true, right? So there is my CV, there it is. Now, if you don't want to believe that, that's up to you. You don't have to watch these videos. You don't have to be part of this community. But I do want a positive community, and I do want to be subbed by people who are celebrating DC rather than hating on elements on it, because it really doesn't get us anywhere. This has been the DCEU Daily. I'm Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. Like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss this perfection. And I'll see you again tomorrow with even more DCEU Daily. Until then, goodbye, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen.